Alrighty, so we got about less than 20 minutes before the final game of this match week between LAFC versus San Diego kicked off, and I'll probably miss the first couple of minutes, but I want to do the review of both the Leeds Cup final and also the third place match that happened today. I was actually watching both of these games on the plane and also watching the second half as I'm heading back from home from the airport, and I gotta say, the Wi-Fi on the plane, it stood up for the most part. I was a little bit concerned that it wasn't gonna stood up, but it stood up pretty well where I was able to watch both of these games without too much interruption. But that being said, before we start this review, I want to first congratulate the Seattle Sounders of not only winning the Leeds Cup, but they have now complete everything that needs to be win in the trophy cabinet. They have won MLS Cup. They have won US Open Cup. They have won the CONCACAF Champions Cup and still are the only MLS team to ever win the CONCACAF Champions Cup, or back then called the CONCACAF Champions League. And now they add the Leeds Cup to the latest list of a long list of trophies that this franchise have, of course, won. And we'll definitely talk about how they did it and take down the mighty Inter Miami in just a bit. But first, we're going to talk about the third place matchup. And again, normally a third place matchup, it's a matchup where, it's kind of a bit of a bland kind of game. But when it comes to the Leeds Cup, one of the unique thing of the third place match is that a CONCACAF Champions Cup spot is still up for grabs. And for the LA Galaxy, we know it's been a disastrous season for them. I mean, this is going to go down as the worst ever season for a defending MLS Cup champion in the history of this league. And they're doing something that I didn't think a defending champ will ever achieve. And talk about just an MLS Cup hangover. I mean, this is more than just that. But if there is one saving grace in terms of this disastrous season for the Galaxy, and at least some salvage point of a disastrous season like this, they're going back to the CONCACAF Champions Cup, and I'm interested to see how they do that now that they are gonna have most of their players healthy, especially the killer piece will be healthy next year. Ricky Puig, obviously, I'm wondering whether or not if he's gonna get some minutes. I mean, with the way that the rest of the games is kind of meaningless, I don't think Greg Vanny would want to risk that with putting Puig back in. Maybe just kind of give him a full year of rehab and then basically heading in the next season, getting himself back, and maybe this Galaxy team might have a legitimate shot in the CONCACAF Champions Cup because if they can sort out their defensive mistake, there's no doubt that this is a Galaxy team that going forward they look like a very scary team, and in this game they kind of show that you a couple of times that they can definitely be scary. But it's also a game where once again, and this is kind of a theme in terms of both of these games that I've watched, the losing team will definitely be kicking themselves that they missed some crucial chances and crucial minutes. Orlando had their moments in this one. In fact, there were times where they were getting some golden chances because the Galaxy defense sucked this season and them turning the ball over a lot of times in this one. But Orlando just didn't do enough in terms of capitalizing those Galaxy mistakes. And in the first half, it also doesn't help the fact that they found themselves 1-0 down just 9 minutes into this game and also give up on the very first shot of the game. As Marco Reus would score from Peck to make it 1-0 in favor of the Galaxy. That also came off of a transition. That is like the LA Galaxy of last season. We've seen this a couple of times. As bad as the season has ended, we have seen a couple of clips of this vintage Galaxy transition, how lethal that they are. And again, next year with Ricky Pooch back in and the killer piece back in action, there's no doubt we're going to see more of those kind of moments. But just like that, it was 1-0 in favor of the Galaxy. Muriel did look to respond on the free kick, but he puts it right to Mikovic. But then he looked like he got the equalizer just 1 minute later. But the problem was the flag did not agree with him, and it was pretty clear that he was in an offside position, so that goal didn't count. But really, after an 8 minute filling out period where not much really happened in the first 8 minutes, things really start to open up, and both of these teams were definitely going to try to get themselves the next goal. And I even think there's probably going to be a goal or two left in this one. Marine would then had a shot that struck the post on the volley, but then it falls to Angulo, and unfortunately, Angulo knew nothing about this one. If he knew something about this one, he probably would have tapped it into the empty net, but he knew nothing about it. It kind of fall to him unfortunously, and it goes wide of the target. Muriel then had a shot that was spilled by Mikovic, but Gather had also come out of a bad giveaway from the Galaxy. This would be a common theme in this game for the Galaxy. In fact, this was a common theme for both of these teams. Both of these defenses was just committing some very sloppy mistakes at the back, and at this moment, the Galaxy, I thought their D just completely switched off in the last 5 minutes. Like they're literally allowing Orlando City to try to get the equalizer. And then we had a very strange situation where Garces actually went down with an injury, and Fagundes, I don't know if I ever see this happen before, where Fagundes, his own teammate, decided to try to pick Garces off, thinking that they need to, of course, keep going, and Garces was not happy about that. He was shouting at Fagundes because of that. Now, normally we see this happen maybe late in the game, especially when you are the team that's losing and the opposition decided to maybe show some gamesmanship or get injured, and they decide to pick yourself up, and obviously that doesn't resort to much. But I don't think I've ever seen that happen with the same team as well. And especially, this is not at the end of the game. I mean, this was in the 35th minute. This was just a bizarre situation. I don't know why Fagundes decided that he wants to pick up his teammate up as quick as possible, because again, this is the 34th minute and they're leading in this game as well. There's really no need for him to do that. And in fact, Garces actually wasn't even able to continue as well. He had to be subbed off for the remaining of the game. So yeah, just a very bizarre situation. Something I don't think I've ever seen happen, and it's also kind of just shows you the frustration it started to get in terms of the locker room. The locker room culture in the Galaxy this season, it's probably not very good with all the losing that is going on, and now you see this situation where teammates just kind of almost turn against each other just because of the fact that one of the teammate wants to get things going again, even though it's the 35th minute. You're leading 1-0. There's really no need to just going on the attack and maybe get another goal relatively quickly. But in the 43rd minute, Ojeda would puts it wide from long range, but we do head to halftime with the Galaxy leading 1-0. In the second half, the post would deny Atuesta, and somehow, in some way, it was gathered by Mikovic there in the 50th minute. That also came off another bad giveaway from the Galaxy. Again, they are playing with a lot of fire with these sloppy giveaway, and I just kind of had a sense that yeah, one of these giveaways are probably going to get punish throughout this game. Peck would then puts it wide from long range, but then in the 60th minute, Orlando ties the game up. It's Ojeda. He scored for Muriel to tie the game up at one apiece. I think we kind of saw this coming. I thought Orlando started the second half the better team, but also just ball watching defending from the Galaxy. I mean, this is not the first time we've seen how bad this defense is and give up some bad goals like this. But the good news for the Galaxy, they retook the lead relatively quickly, because remember, both of these teams, they were being sloppy at the back and giving the ball away, and this time it was Orlando the one that gave the ball away in a bad spot, and they were punished as Josep Painter would score from Nelson to give the lead back to the Galaxy at 2-1. Freeman did look to respond, but he hits it right to Mikovic before Pasalic would puts it high from long range in the 75th minute. And this is also a reminder of the fact that this Galaxy team, despite the fact they're leading in this one, I'm pretty sure Galaxy fans are saying, yeah, this is too good to be true. I mean, are we going to once again concede in the last 15 minutes? Because this team, by far the most fragile team when it comes to protect the lead in the last 15 minutes. They have given the most goal out of any MLS team this season in the last 15 minutes. But that being said, they almost made it 3-1 in this one, at least try to put this third place match away, as the post would deny Painto there. But then Yamane had the rebound here, and somehow, in some way, I don't know how Galese was able to get himself up and still make the save there, but he did. And yeah, Yamane, I think it was kind of a combination of disbelief and also just him kind of laughing and off when Galese make that save, because he kind of had a little smile on him. I don't think he even believed the fact that he got absolutely robbed by Galese on that attempt. They also did check VAR to see whether or not if the ball did cross line, because when Galese make that save, he was still in his goal as well. I mean, that is just some cat-like reflexes. There's a reason why Galese is called El Pupo the Octopus, because that was definitely an El Pupo instinct goal that or instinct save that Galese made in that moment. But in the 88th minute, Ojeda would put it just wide from close as Orlando was pressing late to try to get the equalizer. Barry did look to finish it, but he was denied by Galese. And then in the 5th minute of stoppage time, Alex Freeman had a free header and he hits it right to Mikovic. I mean, that is one that Alex Freeman would. He's gonna have nightmares about this, especially with the way that he would found himself wide open in the box, and the fact that he only can head it right to the goalkeeper as well. That pretty much just sums up the day for Orlando City. A very frustrating game where they missed out on CONCACAF Champion Cup spot because they weren't being clinical in terms of the finishing. But as I said, for the Galaxy, in the midst of one of the worst season in franchise history, they're going back to the CONCACAF Champions Cup. They get the 2-1 win. They win the third place match. The shots in this one, 17 shots for the 11 the Galaxy had, 4 shots on goal for the 5 that Orlando City has, 5 shots off target for the 2 that the Galaxy had, 4 shots that was blocked for the 3 that Orlando City has, and possession-wise, 57% possession compared to the 43% possession that Orlando has in this game. Now, let's talk about the main event. Let's talk about the Leeds Cup final. And as I mentioned before, both of these games were very similar, where, the winning team in terms of both of these games were just more clinical in their against their opposition. And this really is one of the rare times where I say that Inter Miami, you do not see this happen often, where they miss glorious opportunity that they normally put away. And I feel like by the time that they missed that second glorious opportunity when Alande went in on goal and missed wide of the target, you just maybe kind of had a sense that this might not be the day for Miami and something special might be brewing in Seattle. And if there's one thing we know about the Seattle Sounders, especially when they're playing a cup final at home, yeah, they usually win that, and they definitely feed off the home of the 12th man here in this game. 70,000 plus showed up. Well, close to around that range shows up for this final, and a bunch of them definitely went home happy after this game. Now, in the first half, the first shot of the game did see Di Rosario heads it right to Ustari before he puts it way wide from long range in the 5th minute. Seattle definitely started well, and this is not a big surprise. I mean, you can definitely sense that they're feeding off the Sal crowd energy there. The crowd was absolutely electric in this one. Just felt like a cup final, very similar to what we saw in the Concacaf Champions League final, where we saw Seattle had a packed house at Lumen Field against Pumas. And what's kind of interesting is that scoreline that night was the same scoreline what this game ends up to be. But the shots were 2-0 for the Sounders 15 minutes in. Miami did start to dominate some possession and might have survived the early energy boost that the Sounders get. But what they did not do is not concede a goal before halftime, because in the 25th minute, Seattle would take the lead. And who else but Usazi Di Rosario? He has been just having a Bongi Longwane type of Leeds Cup run, where he's just been on fire this Leeds Cup, and he was clinical here to score from Rodon to make it 1-0 in favor of the Sounders. But also, where in the world was the defending there from Inter Miami? I mean, Di Rosario was just wide open in the box. You cannot leave a number 9 that wide open. And I know Di Rosario has had his issue when it comes to finishing, but yeah, when you leave a guy wide open like that, and especially he's when it comes to the Leeds Cup, he's been on a red hot form. Yeah, it's not a big surprise that Di Rosario capitalized that chance, and just like that, it was a 1-0 lead for the Sounders. There was a shout for a handball on the other end for Miami, not given. De La Vega would then hits it right to Ustari after Miami just kind of fell asleep on the free kick. And again, I think Taylor Twellman said it the best. For an experienced team like this, for a veteran team like this, that should not happen. Like you would not expect this team to just completely fell asleep in terms of defending that free kick. But credit to the Seattle Sounders. They saw that happen and they almost snuck in another goal in. But I also thought that Miami was having turnover problem. They were having no answer in terms of trying to deal with the Sounders counter press. The Sounders counter press was relentless in this one, and because of that, it's causing Miami a lot of trouble in terms of trying to keep the ball. I'm kind of surprised not many teams have tried to do this more against Inter Miami. I mean, I know Miami is a team that knows that have possession, but why not try to counter press against them and force them to see if they can keep possession playing out of the back, because that's kind of another staple of him. And more times than not, we have seen that teams have been able to find success on that. Now, obviously, not every single team is going to be like the Sounders. The Sounders is a very good team when it comes to the counter press, but still, I'm kind of surprised not many teams have tried to do that more often, especially against Inter Miami. But yeah, Miami was definitely having a lot of problem with dealing with that early on. And in the 40th minute, they were lucky. They were not 2-0 down, because the post would deny Fiera and the Sounders a 2-0 lead from the top of the box. I even wrote Miami need halftime. I mean, Javier Mascherano, he is just hoping he can get this to halftime 1-0 down, because Miami was just all over the place at the back. Seattle, on the other hand, they don't want halftime. I mean, the Sounders had all the momentum. They were looking to try to get a second goal. Messi then had a chance from long range, but he puts it into the Olympic mound. Besides that one chance that Messi would get in the second half, very quiet night for the goal. I thought Seattle did a really good job in this game. Like every time when Messi touched the ball, there was like four red green jersey ready to defend and making the block. And again, this is kind of a thing that I'm kind of surprised not many teams have tried to do that. I mean, again, it's not easy to do so when you're trying to defend the goal, but it's getting to the point where if you can just kind of put a couple of guys around Messi, maybe there's a chance you can limit what he does, because we know that this offense they go and die where Messi is going. He's the main orchestra of this team and the main linchpin of this team. And again, I thought the Sounders did a really good job in this game, shutting him down for the most part. But we do head to halftime with Seattle leading 1-0. In the second half, Suarez would put it wide from close, but then the 49th minute, this was the chance for Messi. I mean, this was the one glorious chance that you usually see him put this away game after game. But he puts it over here in the 49th minute. That is one that you just do not see very often. And I even immediately wrote, alarm bells are ringing for the Sounders, because they have not showed up in the second half. And this is the thing when you face against Inter Miami, and this is also where if you're the Seattle Sounders, as much as you're happy you play well against Miami and have that 1-0 lead, are you gonna be regretting not getting that second goal and let Miami in the game? How many times we have said this season, when you let Miami in the game, it doesn't take much for them to come back. And even though they miss a glorious chance, and I know deep down Messi would definitely want to have a redo in terms of that. Yeah, there was no doubt that if you're a Sounders fan, there is a lot of concern, because we've seen this script before, and I thought we were about to see the script again, where the Sounders not capitalizing when they're the better team to score to build up their lead, and now you just kind of had a sense that this is going to be a very nervous second half for the Sounders team. Fiera tried to double that lead, but he hits it way high from close range. The shots was 7-6 in favor of the Sounders up to this part. Alande would then hit it wide from the corner, but then the 60th minute, like I said, Alande was in on goal here. He was 1v1 with the goalkeeper, and he completely missed the target again. I mean, I even wrote, this is very unlike Miami. Up to this point, I was expecting at least one of these chances would put in, and you just kind of had a sense that oh boy, is this going to be one of those games for Miami to where their finishing is not going to be there. And what a way to do it in a final like this, or a very unfortunate way to do it in a final where you're finishing let things down. Falcone then clearance goal off of Rothrock, and then redirected wide in the 68th minute. I thought the Sounders did survive the pressure that Miami was given, but at the same time, you just kind of have sense they still need the second goal. Keep in mind, Miami has never been shut out in the Leeds Cup. They have scored every single game that they play in the Leeds Cup prior to tonight. So obviously, a 1-0 lead seems like it might be out of the question. We have not seen a lot of teams able to get a 1-0 thing squeak out win against this Miami team. So again, you just kind of have a sense the Sounders, they need this second if they are able to get the momentum back. And this was the chance in the 73rd minute when Rothrock was in on goal there, but he was absolutely robbed by Ustari. And I mean, Rowe, yep, that chance, that might come back to haunt the Sounders. I've seen this story before where teams missing glorious opportunity against Miami, and you just kind of had a sense that well, if Sounders fan were nervous for especially how the second half began, they'll probably be just on the edge of their seat and biting all their fingernails in the last 15 minute. But they also did a quick check to see if not Vargas handballed this one in the box that could have gave a penalty to Miami. VAR says no, and it did hit his hand there, but because his hand was in a natural position, I think that was a good call for them to not call that a penalty. But speaking of a penalty, on the other end, it was given to the Sounders as Manungu was brought down by Bright there in the box. I mean, Manungu is basically a cheat code for the Seattle Sounders, and I gotta say, Manungu has started to reach El Zeno type of level where we always talk about Alzino being such an impact sub all those years for the Union. You gotta say it's got to be the same case with Manungu as well. And what makes him so dangerous is that pace that he has, and with the way that he's able to work against a already tired Miami back line. Yeah, it's no surprise that he was going to be a factor in this one. And Bright, just up to this point, he actually had a relatively good game, but there was no need for him to bring him down. Manungu actually wasn't even anywhere close to toward goal. It was just a clumsy challenge there by Yannick Bright. So here comes the Sounders a chance to take the penalty. Originally, it was actually Christian Rodon, the one that was about to take the penalty, which I thought that was probably not the best idea because Christian Rodon has had his struggle from the spot. And keep in mind, they already subbed out De La Vega in this one. Also, no Rusnak in this one. So they don't really have a penalty kick taker up to this point. So they decided that they're going to give it to Christian Rodon, only for him to later give it to his older brother Alex Rodon, or was it his younger brother? That is. I always get that confused of which Rodon brothers are actually older and younger. But nevertheless, Alex Rodon steps up to the penalty. He's actually perfect in his career from the penalty spot, and he remains perfect. So he scored here to make it 2-0 in favor of the Sounders, and then just 5 minutes later, this is the icing on the cake, and also a redemption goal too for Paul Rothrock because he missed a glorious opportunity in the 73rd minute. He makes sure he makes no mistake in this one as he scored from Alex Rodon to make it 3-0 in favor of the Sounders. There also was no stoppage time in this one as again I kind of understand because this game was already out of hand. There's no need to add stoppage time in this one. But what also happened after this game is something very similar to what we saw in the Club World Cup final. So remember in that Club World Cup final between PSG and Chelsea, where once the full time whistle was go, Chelsea of course celebrate. Obviously, I was very happy at that as a Chelsea fan myself. But what also happened during that game was that the PSG player, yeah, they the you can definitely see the sore loser mentality kind of got to them, and the rush of blood also started happening with those players, and there was kind of like a little bit of a brawl after the full time whistle was sound, and this was pretty much the same thing. Miami, they started to show that sore loser sort of mentality. There was a bit of a coming together between both team, and they actually caught Suarez spitting on one of the Sounders personnel. And I know Suarez has had an incredible career as well, and no doubt that he's going to go down as one of the greatest number nine to ever play this game. But I mean, just there's also another part of Suarez that I just really hate, and is kind of a part of the game where he might not be known as the greatest number nine to ever play in this game, where his sportsmanship is next to none. I mean, we've seen this before with Suarez doing some unnecessary thing. We talk about the biting incident that has happened throughout his career as well. And here, just absolutely no need for him to spit on a Sounders person now. I mean, I get it. You're frustrated that you lost the game, but that's just absolutely uncalled for. And I expect there could be a suspension and a hefty fine as well. And if there is a suspension, I wonder how that's gonna work because this happens in the Leeds Cup. So does that mean he gets suspended in these next couple of Leagues Cup game? I mean, I don't think you can suspend him in terms of MLS play because it's two different competition itself. But either way, this was a game that again for the Seattle Sounders, this is exactly why this is a team that when it comes to cup final, especially when they're playing at home, you just knew that they had it in them. This is a team that from their franchise have always thrive in these big game kind of situation and are able to go get themselves out on the winning side. And they did exactly that again, beating Inter Miami in this one. The shots on this one, they had even at 11 shots, but the shots on goal pretty much won the game for the Sounders. 6 shots on goal compared to just one that Miami has. Andrew Thomas didn't even need to make some big save in this one because Miami was just missing chances left and right. 5 shots off target with the two that Seattle has. 5 shots that was blocked with the two that the Sounders had. And possession-wise, 62% possession compared to 38% possession the Sounders has had. And while the Sounders are definitely going to party this to the end of the night. And the good thing about this year's Leeds Cup, because of the timing itself, I don't think the Sounders have another game until September 13th, if I'm not mistaken. I might be mistaken. They probably might have another game next week, but at least they're not going to have a situation where, oh, well, we're going to celebrate, but then we have to prepare for MLS play relatively quick. They can have a chance to celebrate this at least for a couple of days, but for Inter Miami, it's another list game that has been added into the failure of that this team has had. And what's kind of interesting about the saga with Inter Miami and ever since Messi has come to this team, they have not done well in Cup final. Besides that one Cup final that they of course participate participated in the Leeds Cup, that is, they have not really done well at all in terms of how they how this been. I mean, yes, they have won two trophies so far, but there was just so many chances that they could get more than just a two trophy, and especially in some of these big games kind of play, we have started to see some choking label that has happened with this team, and that's got to be frustrating if you're an Inter Miami fan or even a fair weather fan, that is. And there's no doubt that I'm pretty sure Javier Mascherano is going to come under a lot of heat after this game. I mean, I will say that I don't think this game is entirely his fault. I mean, he did make the right adjustment in the second half to change the game, but unfortunately, his team just weren't able to execute and finish, and that sometimes you can't really blame on the manager. But what maybe I think you could blame on the manager and for Javier Mascherano. This is the second game in a row where they start off slow in the game. And when you start off slow in a cup final, especially when you find yourself chasing in the game, it usually doesn't go so well for you. This is why the first goal is so important in cup final. I mean, I know it's a burning cliche, but yeah, this kind of allows Seattle some momentum, and the fact that again, in the second half, not putting away those chances in the second half of this Miami team, that's gonna come not only come back to haunt them, but now they heading into the rest of the season. I mean, this I feel like after this Leeds Cup final failure that they have, the pressure is even more now on this Miami team to win MLS Cup. Like if they do not win MLS Cup, and heck, if they don't even win a trophy after this season, I would not be surprised if Javier Mascherano is going to be fired from this team. And I know that sounds crazy, consider how good of a season that Miami has had, but with all the expectation and all the pressure on Mascherano's in terms of how it is, and especially with the fact that he hasn't been a popular man in terms of the Miami fan base, I would not be surprised. He might be let go after the end of the season if they do not win any trophy whatsoever. And it definitely can happen if they also get ousted in the playoff early again. Like there's no doubt that if this team get ousted in the playoff early again, just like last season, Marciano is all but gone by the end of this season. But there you have it. That is pretty much it for the review of both of these games. As always, let me know in the comments below what do you think of both of these games. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.